Alright, boys, y'all already know what time it is. It's time for the cut content episode, season 2, episode 3 cut content. Shout out to AniNews once again for blessing me, helping me out, man. And a lot of people out there with the cut content, bro. You the GOAT. Little extra info. I'm gonna have the subtitles on just in case. I feel like I can like lock in a little more if I have the subtitles. Call me cooked. Alright, you can tell me I'm cooked, but I think it also helped me out. Even if like the subs are a little off because auto-generated, it'll help me out with the information that's being given here. So shout out to you, AniNews. We're gonna dive into cut content for this episode. I'm excited. I'm stoked. It is called The Witch's Tea Party. ECHIDNA explained who is the Witch of Greed. Let's get it.
Echidna's Tea Party was probably the most important.
That is not the beginning. Alright.
Echidna's Tea Party was probably the most important event from this episode.
Yeah.
While I do believe that they did a great job adapting it, I think they could have done a bit more to explain what exactly was going on.
Yeah.
In the novels, Subaru actually asked a few noteworthy questions and got some interesting answers in return.
Oh, that's cool. Also, on another note, I'll only be watching... Okay, I almost forgot to mention this. I'll be watching up until minute 16:45. Thank you. Shout out to the person who let me know in the last cut content video. After minute 16 and 45, the last section of the video is actually spoilers for episode 5 because AniNews did not know they were going to rearrange the scenes from the looks of it. So we're going to stop the cut content at 16:45 because for this episode at least, because it's going to be spoilers. And maybe if by episode 5, I'm able to continue it, if I remember, to continue the last part of the cut content. So we will stop at 16:45. I'm pretty sure that's the timestamp. Let me confirm. 16:45 onward is spoilers. Yeah. All right.
So, as we go through today's cut content, we'll learn more about who this Witch of Greed really is and why she invited Subaru to her tea party.
Please.
Aside from that, though, Episode 3 also skipped some of the most important details regarding Sanctuary so far.
Really?
There was a whole bunch of cut scenes regarding Frederica's suspected involvement with everyone's captivity, plus the introduction of a brand new character who should have been revealed towards the end.
It's not the elf from episode 2. Okay.
In addition to all of that, there was also the exclusion of an entire group within Sanctuary that seeks to do harm to Amelia.
Oh.
These were fairly important topics that should have been included in this episode. So let's continue our cut content series and take a look at what exactly we missed out on.
Alright, let's go, man.
Before we get into the cut content though, this video is sponsored by
get your sponsor, man. Get your bag, bro. Get your bag, man. I respect it, bro. I respect it.
Get that 85% discount today.
Yeah, bro. I respect it. Get your bag, bro.
Episode 28,
Alright.
The Long-Awaited Reunion, covering Chapter 2 to Chapter 3 of Volume 10 of the light novel.
Alright.
Because Subaru had experienced death numerous times before, he felt that he had gained a fairly keen sense for danger. It wasn't so strong that it would prevent him from dying more often, but it did grant him a certain level of awareness while in situations like this one.
Yeah, now, even though it was traumatizing, and he's fucking... Yeah, I fucking changed Subaru. He has learned... he has way more awareness in dangerous situations, which is pretty good.
It's for this reason that he was able to sense that the girl sitting before him was a far greater threat than both the White Whale and Sloth.
Yep.
So, considering this was a situation that he had literally no control over, Subaru had no other choice but to accept whatever invitation it was that Echidna was offering.
Yeah.
An invitation to have a conversation. Their first topic of discussion was on how Subaru got to where he was. To clarify on what actually happened, Subaru wasn't physically moved through space, but instead put under the influence of a dark spell.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't no space traveling bullshit. Okay. Dark spell.
It was a claim that Subaru found very hard to believe. But as he looked around to see what was a surreal view of rolling hills spanning infinitely into the distance, her words began to be more believable. Now, when he sat down to drink Echidna's tea, the reveal of it being something akin to her body fluids spurred on a much more comedic conversation.
Yeah.
Subaru dropped to his knees and tried to vomit out what he just drank.
Oh, that was so different. In the fucking episode, he just like lashed out a little bit, but did, he didn't do this.
Stating that he didn't want to drink anyone's fluids without being ready for it.
Jesus
which implied
Christ.
that if he was prepared, then it was something that he would consider doing.
Wow.
Subaru only realized the perversion of this statement after he had said it aloud.
That's
So
crazy.
he tried to correct himself by saying that he wasn't inclined to be aroused by anyone's saliva or sweat. At least he didn't think so anyway.
Whoa.
In any case, once he realized that Echidna's tea wasn't coming back up,
Listen, bro. I think Subaru, if it was fucking Amelia's, he would have done that shit in a heartbeat, bro. How much you want to bet? If it's fucking Amelia's, he would have done that shit in like 0.2 seconds, bro.
he shifted his focus towards the more concerning problem sitting in front of him.
Right.
Unlike in the anime, Subaru did in fact have a few questions for Echidna. First, he wanted to know where exactly he was and if she truly was a witch.
Okay.
It didn't make sense for this person to be the Witch of Greed because Subaru knew that she along with the 5 other witches were all killed by the Witch of Envy.
Correct.
That's when Echidna explained that the ruins were actually her tomb, a grave that serves to hold her soul captive for all eternity.
Oh, that makes way more sense. Yeah.
Where Subaru was now was simply Echidna's personal realm. Though she refers to it as her castle, it's actually something more similar to a dream. Her dream. When Subaru entered her tomb, his spirit was invited by Echidna's spirit into her dream. And
that makes so much sense. Okay. Yeah, because I was low-key confused. Like in the original reaction, I was kind of still confused. Like, how the fuck... Like, what is this exact area that he's in? Damn, okay, this makes... Okay, yeah.
He accepted. Obviously, this wasn't something Subaru thought to be possible. But the way that Echidna spoke made it seem like there was no way that she was lying. She then went on to say something that Subaru found to be rather peculiar. Apparently, this type of realm is a place that he should already be familiar with, as if to say that she knew he's been to a place similar in nature to this one.
Bro, again, I feel like Echidna knows about this whole return by death shit. I'm gonna keep fucking... Yo, I'm gonna keep theorizing that it has to do with return by death, bro. I refuse to believe that return by death is just some random bullshit, bro. So the Witch of Envy obviously has to do with it, but who's to say that the Witch of Greed, right, Echidna doesn't know anything about it either? Like, she could just be choosing to not speak on the topic. Like, she could just not talk about it. Like, yeah.
It wasn't anywhere that Subaru could personally recall, but once again, Echidna didn't seem to be lying. He simply accepted that what she was saying was the truth. So, when she said that this dream world wasn't something that he could simply awaken from, that's when Subaru started to realize the dire situation that he found himself in.
Dream world.
See, Subaru can't leave this realm without Echidna's permission. If Echidna really wanted to, she could very easily keep both his body and spirit captive forever.
That's crazy. But she let him go. She just let him go.
Luckily, that wasn't what she was planning to do. Because Subaru stumbled into her domain of his own free will, he was also free to leave whenever he wanted. The only reason he was even here at all was because Echidna was simply showing him the same hospitality that she'd show any other invited guest. If that was in fact the case, then that would mean that she had nothing to do with the crystal or Amelia.
Crazy. I thought she did. Invited guest. Who other invited guest would it be? She mentioned Witch's Tea Party, right? Witch's Tea Party, I think was the name of it. So what? Is it just a gathering of all the witches? Well, I mean, if they were fucking alive, I guess. So all the witches just gather and have a fucking tea party? What do they do? Fucking talk about crushes and shit, bro? People they like, bro? Like what? You just be gossiping? Like what the fuck do witches do at a tea party?
So when Subaru asked about the events that happened prior to his arrival, he was surprised to hear that she knew very little of what was happening outside her tomb.
What the fuck?
It wasn't the answer Subaru was looking for, but because there was no way of confirming it, there wasn't really much else that he could do. At the moment, that was all that Subaru wanted to know. So, with no more questions to ask, he no longer had any reason to stay. His primary goal was to find Amelia. The longer he stayed here with Echidna, the longer that goal would remain unaccomplished.
Exactly.
It may seem like he's wasting a huge opportunity here, but it's not like you can blame Subaru for being worried about Amelia.
Exactly.
I mean,
like what? Okay, any other person in this situation, bro? Because y'all freaks, bro. Y'all down bad, bro. I see all in the comment section, bro. Talk about some, yo, we're all cracking Echidna. Even though that's true. Hey, if you know who you are, bro. Even though that's true, bro. Hey, listen, anyone in the situation would have been like, alright, we stay, bro. Like, come on, man.
The last time he left someone he cared about alone, she ended up getting her existence removed from the world.
Literally,
So
that's a
it
good
makes
point.
sense that he would prioritize Amelia's safety over everything else.
Yeah.
Even so, the fact remained that this was a very rare opportunity. Only after Echidna explained just how rare it was did he fully understand who it was that was sitting in front of him.
Yeah, also, yeah, she also mentioned, like, yo, this is a rare event. You sure you don't want to know anything from me? Like, she kept asking Subaru. She really wanted Subaru to ask a kid, like, ask her shit, bro. Like, she was really like, yo, like, I know a lot, bro. I have a lot of knowledge, right? Her greed for knowledge, she just wanted to share it, I guess, right? She was like, do you want to know something? You sure you don't want to ask me more stuff? Like, that shit was funny, though.
The tense feeling he'd been carrying this entire encounter wasn't so much because of Echidna's threatening aura, but instead due to her insatiable curiosity. The way she looked at Subaru as if she already knew everything about him made her presence feel that much more oppressive.
That's scary. Does Echidna know everything about Subaru? Does she know everything about Subaru? Again, Witch of Envy, Witch of Greed, right? They're probably a fucking duo, right? Who knows, bro? Goku and Vegeta, right? They probably know everything good. Like probably know everything about each other, right? So Echidna might as well just fucking know about Return by Death, dude. I swear she has to have some fucking knowledge on that, man. I'm gonna fucking keep saying that, dude.
That's when Subaru decided to stay and ask a couple more questions.
Okay.
He asked, "What are you, and do you know the things I want to know?"
Oh.
These were such odd questions that Echidna couldn't help but laugh at the nature of them. It was in that moment that Echidna acknowledged Subaru's own personal greed, a desire for knowledge that was very much similar to her own. As the world around him began to crumble, the darkness that took its place was something Subaru wanted no part of. He immediately knew that falling into such an abyss would lead to an inescapable end. So he paid close attention to the words Echidna spoke next. They were the unfamiliar names of the witches that were never recorded into history.
Right, I remember that. Echidna mentioned all the witches and like a little like rundown on every single one. But that's another thing. Same or like similar greed that she has, dude? What? Subaru's greed? What the fuck?
When Echidna finally spoke of the Witch of Envy, the only thing Subaru could feel was a powerful aura of death.
Oh,
Subaru
wow.
had been trying to ignore the restlessness persisting throughout his body the entire time. But ever since finding out who Echidna was, he couldn't even force himself to look in her direction. It was a natural reaction that Echidna hoped would change but personally couldn't do anything about. She simply stared at Subaru as if anticipating the moment in which he would snap out of the intense state of fear he found himself in. That's where her tea comes into play. Not only did this tea strengthen his resistance to Echidna's presence, but it also activated his witch factor.
There we go, okay. That's such a way better way of explaining it, AniNews. Thank you, bro. And the subs said a little weird, I understood it, but like, yeah. He gained resistance to Echidna's presence, but it also activated his witch factor. Honestly, that wording is so much better and so much more understandable, bro. Yeah, okay.
For those who don't want to know what a witch factor is, then go ahead and skip to the following timestamp.
Do I? Wait, you guys already explained it to me. Let's see. Honestly, hell yeah, let's go.
If you're okay with a minor spoiler, well, witch factors are what enable people to use authorities.
Yeah, there we go, yeah.
Authorities are the abilities that we see the archbishops using. The type of authority that manifests within an individual is dependent on the person possessing it. Meaning, Subaru's authority of sloth wouldn't be the same unseen hand ability as the previous holder.
Ah, that makes so much sense with what Echidna mentioned, right? Because, like, obviously Petelgeuse got killed, so Subaru got the witch factor, but Subaru's, okay. Subaru's ability is obviously not going to be the same unseen hand shit. The authority of sloth. Okay. Again, you guys kind of explained this to me, but he's kind of just, like, I guess, reaffirming and also, like, giving more details and stuff on how it works, so that's good.
Unseen hand ability as the previous holder.
Yeah.
Instead, it would be something more unique to Subaru's personal desires.
Oh.
So, the witch factor that allows people to use authorities is what Echidna activated.
Okay.
And it's also what qualified Subaru to enter the ruins.
That's what qualified Subaru to enter the ruins. That makes sense. Yeah? I don't know why I didn't think of that in the original episode. Yeah, that makes so much sense why he fucking entered. Okay, yeah?
Echidna was trying to make it clear that Subaru was a very special person. To her, he was an exception among exceptions. His current path put him far ahead of schedule over what she was expecting. but he was much less aware of what was going on than what she felt he needed. For starters, he needed to know a lot more about the witches, the tomb, and even sanctuary. Echidna was speaking as if Subaru's path was one that had been planned from the very beginning.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. You guys mentioned something about the sloth, what if, right? Sloth if, right? Yeah, the one where he went with Rem. Apparently, what if, it's like him going outside of the path, right? Or like the trajectory that has been planned from the very beginning. This path that's been planned from the very beginning. So that's why he has checkpoints. It seems like, is everything like predetermined then, in a way? What Subaru like does and like every fucking action, is it predetermined? Cause like he gets these checkpoints the more he progresses, and they're so specific. Like after he like pretty much bypasses some problem or kills someone or like some great threat, and it's like all over, he gets like a new checkpoint. So, and it seems like he only gets these new checkpoints if he keeps going the path that he's meant to go down. But in the what if, the sloth what if, right? He didn't get new checkpoints, I think, from what I remember, you guys telling me. He didn't get new checkpoints while he was with Rem and like, you know, like living his life with Rem. So like when he died in the end, he reset all the way back to the way before he ran away with Rem. And that's why, you know, that shit was painful. That's why the sloth what if is so painful. Because pretty much none of the progress saved, and he went back all the way to the last checkpoint. So it seems like checkpoints only activate if he keeps going down the designated path. What, dude? That is fucking wild. Is it really all planned? Predetermined? Like everything's just meant to happen and Subaru can't change it?
He couldn't fully understand what she was trying to say, but when she mentioned sanctuary, that was all Subaru needed to hear in order to decide it was finally time to leave.
Yeah.
Even though Echidna was offering literally every historical detail relating back to the time when she was alive 400 years ago,
dude,
Subaru had zero interest in learning about any of it.
God damn it, Subaru. But I get it. He just wants to save Emilia and make sure Emilia's good. That's crazy. So much lore and history. That's why Echidna was like, wait, you're telling me you got this rare ass chance, once in a lifetime shit, and you're just gonna dip? You don't care? You're just gonna go? Like, look at her face right here, bro. She's like, what? What are you doing? That's crazy. 400 years, huh? My God.
Sure, getting to know more about the witch factor or sanctuary would have been nice, but Amelia needed to be found first.
Yeah,
when
fair, I guess.
Saw this, the overwhelming presence that she previously possessed had now deteriorated into nothing more than that of an ordinary girl's.
Wow.
But right before Subaru was about to leave, one final question of great importance popped into his head. He wanted to know if she knew anything about the witch cult's archbishops. Unfortunately, that was a term that Echidna had never heard before. It did, however, go to stir her innate curiosity.
She never knew about the archbishops. Is it arch or arc? I keep saying arc. I don't know. Listen, I'm just gonna say archbishops. The archbishops term, she has no clue about it? I mean, she is pretty old. Maybe she didn't get the patch notes, right? Maybe we got like a little update and she just didn't know, but huh.
As if the roles were now reversed, Echidna wanted to hear all about these so-called archbishops.
Roles
but
reversed?
There was no point in discussing it any further, since it was clear that Echidna had no knowledge on their authorities, the damage they did, or the methods of repairing them.
What the fuck? Okay. Wow.
There was nothing that she could say that would help him save Rem, a goal that shared equal importance with the one to find Amelia.
Damn.
What's even more important to note was that Echidna just showed that she has nothing to do with the witch's cult.
She has nothing to do with the witch's cult. Dude, what the fuck? Holy... This was fucking crazy lore, bro. I wonder if he's gonna talk about, like, the whole Roswell thing. Like, why does the Mathers, whatever the fuck family, right? Like, for generations, has pretty much been acquainted with fucking, Echidna, dude. That's still weird, too, though. Sure, she has nothing to do with the witch's cult, but what the fuck does she have to do with the Mathers family?
If that is in fact true, then it makes you wonder where exactly the witch cult is getting their powers from. And
good question. Good. statement, question, whatever. That's a very good point. If she has nothing to do with the witches cult, where in the actual fuck is she getting her powers from?
Getting their powers from.
Bro, that's so crazy. Wow, okay.
Anyway, as Subaru was about to leave through the portal, we know that Echidna's compensation was a formal pact to never speak of their little tea party.
Right?
What wasn't mentioned after this was when Echidna stated that Subaru was already bound by a pact of a similar nature.
Subaru is already bound to a pact of a similar nature? Return by death. It has to be. It has to be. Okay, but what specifically is the pact though? Like, what, he's always tied to return by death or something? Like what?
Echidna felt that Subaru should have no problem following her pact since it's one that he already has experience with.
That's crazy.
Once again, Subaru had no idea what Echidna was talking about. But the way she spoke as if she was referring to a forbidden topic made it seem as if she was describing return by death.
Yeah, exactly.
Perhaps his inability to talk about that was due to the very same pact that he was making here with Echidna.
Which would make sense. If you put it like that. It's a pact, yeah. He can't, the pact of like the whole return by death, he can't speak about it. The whole pact thing, that makes so much, that makes it make so much more sense, like that he can't speak about it.
These are all subtle hints to mysteries that are slowly being unraveled.
Yeah.
Stuff that wasn't included in the anime. In any case, that was the witch's tea party as it took place in the novels.
Wow.
From it, we learned that Echidna is the witch of greed who personally possesses an insatiable hunger for knowledge.
Yeah.
It's her boundless curiosity towards the unknown that seems to define her greed.
That's crazy.
For the past 400 years, the ruins have served as Echidna's grave in which her soul is forever trapped. Only those who possess a witch factor may enter and potentially gain access to her seemingly infinite knowledge from the era of witches.
Which is obviously why Subaru was able to enter, and this man didn't even bother. He said, cool, you got knowledge? Don't care, don't want it. That's funny.
Learning anything else isn't something she can offer since she doesn't seem to know much about the current period. Which is rather weird considering that she seems to know almost everything about Subaru.
So she knows everything about Subaru, but she has no information on the current period? What the fuck?
That, as well as who Echidna was before she ended up trapped, are mysteries that will end up being solved later.
Okay, yeah, that's still also, there's still a lot of mysteries about Echidna, but that's pretty good info, man. That's wow, that gives us so much more context, bro. Yeah, these cut contents are gonna save my fucking life while watching this anime, I swear. Thank you,
Now
AniNews.
let's move on to the rest of the episode.
Okay.
The reason Garfield knew exactly where Subaru was because he had used his nose to track Subaru's scent.
Tanjiro? From fucking Demon Slayer? What?
He wasn't tracking the smell that everyone typically attributes to the witch, but instead a normal one that Garfield wasn't familiar with. That's how he knew there were outsiders within Sanctuary.
Okay.
You see, Garfield is a demi-human related by blood to Frederica. So it...
Why did they say Puerto Rico in the subs? No. So, yeah, I was a little confused at first because, like, when I saw Garfield, for some reason, I couldn't put two and two together that this guy is, like, related to Federica. For some reason, I didn't put two and two together. I'm a fucking dumbass. Like, I only put two and two together in the fucking break time when fucking Otto started pointing out the teeth, bro. Like, I'm so slow.
Makes sense that his physical strength and senses are much better than the average person.
Yeah.
Now, while in the carriage on the way to Sanctuary, we got to learn a bit more about Garfield and Frederica's relationship. The two didn't seem to get along too well.
Okay.
Any sort of conversation that brought up Frederica's name just made Garfield want to disregard it as quickly as possible.
That's why when this man Subaru mentioned Federica, he was like, bro, how do you know her? Stop, and just pretty much dismissed the entire fucking conversation. Yeah.
It was clear that he didn't want anything to do with her. And based on the way that Frederica spoke about Garfield, that seemed to be the case for her as well. The two of them were just living in their own separate worlds. Garfield then shifted the topic to the place known as Sanctuary. While talking about it, he referred to it once as the Tomb of the Witch of Greed. This was a term that neither Otto nor Subaru had ever heard before. In fact, Subaru didn't even know that other witches aside from the Witch of Envy existed at all.
I thought... So, wait, do I not remember correctly? I thought Subaru got told that. That, like, there was, like, other... I thought... Huh, maybe I'm misremembering.
likely due to a side effect from the pact that he made with the king.
Oh, there we go. I should probably let AniNews finish talking. It's the fucking pact? Oh, fuck, dude.
So, Garfield went on to explain how Envy supposedly killed all the other witches by eating them. Because there wasn't much left with regards to historical records on the matter, no one is actually really sure how they died. What they do know for sure though is that after Envy was the only witch left, the world was led into a state of terror like no one had ever seen before.
Which makes sense why everyone's scared of the fucking Witch of Envy and they fucking hate her. And another theory that I got is like, maybe before the Witch of Envy like killed every other witch, maybe it was peaceful? Like maybe the witches weren't necessarily bad people. Remember when Roswell, when Amelia said like, oh, the Witch of Greed, and Roswell was like, how about you call her Echidna, how it's supposed to be? That's like, you know, like it's fucking disrespectful, like a fucking sin. Maybe the witches weren't necessarily bad for the world, but then as soon as Witch of Envy killed them, everything just went to shit.
That being the case, the witch cult became devout followers of Envy and Envy alone.
Whoa.
They refused to acknowledge the existence of any other witches. Even hearing the mention of any of their names is enough to send the cult on a destructive rampage.
They don't care about any of them? So it's only Witch of Envy. That's the only one they care about.
To clarify what that meant, Garfield mentioned a southern city in the Wallachia Empire that started spreading rumors of a different witch. Supposedly a media that previously belonged to her had been discovered. Eventually this caused a witch that wasn't Envy to gain prominence in the area, something that the witch cult wouldn't allow. Even though this city was one of the most fortified in Wallachia, a single archbishop was all that was needed to destroy it.
Wow.
All because of these newly spread rumors of heresy. Sure enough, the city and all its people were completely wiped out.
Dang.
That's why it became prohibited to speak of the witches at all. It was too
That makes sense. Oh shit.
dangerous to discuss anything related to them, especially if you weren't talking about the Witch of Envy. Anyway, that was all the information that Garfield could offer.
Okay.
Anything else would have to be gotten from Roswell. Which brings us now to when they arrived at Sanctuary. The only difference from the encounter with Ram was with what happened after. As Ram was taking them to go see Roswell, Amelia didn't let go of Subaru's hand.
Oh.
Instead, she continued to hold it as she walked beside him.
Oh, yo. Yeah, see, these things are just so fucking sweet, man. These little details, bro, they do a lot, bro. They definitely do a lot for the characters, man. That's so nice.
A minor detail that I'm sure a lot of you Amelia fans would appreciate.
Yeah,
Now,
what the
when
hell?
the two arrived to see Roswell in such a sorry state, all sorts of topics came up into the conversation. But the one that didn't make it into the anime was the one about what happened to Subaru. Subaru took a few moments to explain how Amelia was supposed to be the one teleported to the ruins instead of him.
Oh.
The only plausible explanation for this was that Frederica had planned for this to happen. It was fair to assume that she knew the barrier would render Amelia unconscious, then the crystal would have her teleported into the forest. This hypothesis was only further reinforced when Ram mentioned that the crystal wasn't even necessary to bypass the barrier. So Frederica was undoubtedly scheming something.
What? So wait, the crystal wasn't even necessary. What? I don't know. She's scheming.
To bypass the barrier.
Frederica,
So
come on,
Frederica
man.
was undoubtedly scheming something. It was clear that she was deeply involved with the present situation that everyone currently found themselves in. A situation
Sus.
that both Amelia and Subaru initially assumed to be because of Garfield. Before anyone could clear this false assumption, it was then that Garfield walked into the room, which triggered a fairly tense moment. Amelia looked as if she was ready to start fighting Garfield right there. And it didn't help that Garfield was always ready to accept a fight either. Only after Ram stepped in and smashed an iron tray over his head did everyone calm down. You'd think that a hot-tempered person like him wouldn't let this slide, but Ram seemed to be the only person who could keep Garfield under control.
Okay, what the fuck is this Garfield and fucking Ram thing, bro? What do they got going on, man? What do they got going on, bro?
It was actually fairly common to see Garfield lower his guard around her.
Huh.
Only after Subaru saw the way that Garfield looked at her did he realize that Garfield had a thing for Ram.
Yeah,
When
okay.
Subaru brought it up, Garfield didn't even try to deny it. Instead,
Oh.
he just found it normal for him to be attracted to her.
Oh, well, there we go. Confirmed. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, I was like, bro, he just likes her. Okay.
In any case, since brute force wasn't the cause of their imprisonment, that meant the only thing left that could be responsible for keeping them there was the barrier.
Yep.
That was only partially right, though. There were a couple other factors contributing to their confinement. To clarify what was mentioned in the anime, the barrier doesn't mean much to anyone who isn't a half-blood.
Right.
Both Roswaal and Subaru could pass through it whenever they like.
Yep,
The
yep.
reason Roswaal didn't was because Garfield wouldn't let any of the other villagers leave until he broke the barrier. But now that Amelia herself was a prisoner, everyone was now in the same boat.
Pretty much.
Now, you'd think that they could just carry all the half-bloods out of the barrier, but unfortunately that wasn't an option either.
Alright, and we stop right here. We're gonna stop right there because apparently after this it's spoilers, I think. So if the timestamp is correct, right? I'm gonna trust you, brother. In the comment section last video, man. 1645. We're gonna stop here. Okay. W cut content, W info, man. Thank you so much, AniNews, once again. These help so much, bro. Especially the Witch's Tea Party shit, bro. Oh my god, yeah, that really gave it way more weight, bro. It's just so crazy that this man Subaru could know anything and just decided to not care and just not ask, bro. That's the funny thing to me. He really just did not give a fuck. And Echidna's personality is so much different than I thought, bro. Well, that is it for today's cut content, man, and we will see what happens next. Love these. Shout out to you, AniNews. Thank you so much once again. Shout out to you, brother. If y'all enjoyed this video, subscribe, leave a like down below. The full uncut version to all ReZero content will be on the Patreon. As always, have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. See you guys.